Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is your girl, Wicked Raider, reaching out to you with a little update, especially for those brand new 2023 new game players. There has been so many additions to Raid Shadow Legends over the past couple of days, especially even the last couple of weeks. And so when you come into it and you're really thinking about it hard, especially for you guys who've also been with me for a couple of months now, if you started a new account at the beginning of the year, you're probably noticing that this time you are moving extremely quickly. So always be thankful to the gameplay that is paying off. You kind of learn the do's and the don'ts. There are a few areas that I really want to go through just as a setup if you are brand new to the world of Raid Shadow Legends. Guys, when you come here to your battle area. And of course, you're going to have moments when there are super raids that are available. It's going to tell you that in Faction Wars, for example, you can go in for 2x points. So having that ability to get 2 times the rewards, double points if you're in a tournament or an event is always kind of nice to have. But there are a couple of areas I want you to focus on. And these were areas in the game in the very beginning I wasn't very familiar with. So this is what I'm talking about. You guys will run campaign a lot. This is where you're going to spend your time with normal, going through hard mode, eventually getting to brutal, which is really where the good farming is going to take place. And then you make it to nightmare. And hopefully at the end of all the things, you're able to finish out all of your levels all the way down to nightmare and you can acquire the sacred shard. Now, we'll go back. I can do a complete video, honestly, just on campaign techniques, usages, the storyline that's attached to it. There's so many things to talk about when you come to campaign. But for this particular video, I actually want to start with Clan Boss. Clan Boss is one of those areas especially with my first account, I did not spend a lot of time here. I didn't quite understand. I knew that I had to push to a certain point and be able, of course, to unlock Hydra. So I knew that that was going to be one of those moments. But a lot of people talked about the Demon Lord, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, depending on what team you're in, what group you are with, is going to kind of also determine where you guys are falling, whether you're doing easy mode, are you doing normal mode, or are you going hard if possible. You also have brutal, nightmare, and ultra nightmare. And these are achieved as you're able to go through and actually defeat that particular level of the Demon Lord for a clan boss in general. What I use Clan Boss for, and I tell guys this all the time, this will teach you how to build your team. For example, currently my group is working on hard and nobody has participated today. I know for this account at this stage, it's going to be incredibly difficult for me to even reach the first milestone that's listed for hard. So you're trying to come in and do 2.9 to 3.8 million units, you know, 1,000 units of damage is kind of what you're trying to get to. So for drop info, these are the things that you can acquire. It is a really good way to pick up a couple of artifacts, whether they are rings or pieces of gear. You always have your shard that's available. But honestly, a lot of the time you're gauging how much damage is being dealt so that you better learn how to assimilate your team. Like, how do I want to put this team together and really get things done? So let's say I go in, I don't want to tackle, hard mode today. I'm just going to start in normal. Well, since everybody else is on hard, we'll use hard as an example, and it's going to be a quick fight. I go in and use my team, and I'm just going to put in my top 5 champions. So that's who's going to make it into this team at the moment. I know the majority of my damage is going to be by my first 2 champions. They're the only ones I really worked on ascending, leveling up, and putting quality gear on. Here's the kicker that you don't realize right away. I first assumed that you were supposed to completely beat the Demon Lord by yourself. That was my assumption. And you guys can tell we're going to die pretty quick here. But it's okay. We're going to use our keys. We're going to give in and do whatever we can to contribute to the team itself. And then we'll keep going. And you'll be able to see the difference in the total number of turns and total damage. Guys, when it comes to clan boss, that's what you're looking for. You want to know how much damage did you deal. You also want to pay attention to which of your champions was able to survive. Now, at this particular level, we did 80K in damage. Let's go back a level though. I get it. We're going to keep that score. We're going to jump down to normal. We're actually going to put in our same champions, keeping in mind that 3 of these champions are actually naked. But you have the keys, and the goal is for you to use those 2 keys every day. There will be moments when you may acquire a 3rd key. I've had some times when I have literally gone in and had 6 keys available. Use your keys because those chests will give you access to artifacts that are pretty usable for your accounts. Now, you can tell the difference in difficulty here. The first time in hard mode, we're only hitting 80K. We're already at 205 at this point. It's not a huge number. It's a good starting point. There is also in Clan Boss, if you're looking at some of the challenges or the quests that are available in Clan Boss, in your clan, period. There will be a challenge in there that actually says, or a quest in there that will say, survive the Demon Lord for 19 rounds. And I will tell you guys now, I was absolutely ecstatic the first time I was able to survive 19 rounds. I was ecstatic the first time I made it to 500,000 K of damage. I was excited when I made it to 1 million. I thought I would never get there. And now your team is doing 12, 13, 15, 20 million in damage. You have teams that are doing 50, 60, 70, 90. You know, the numbers will most definitely jump. And as you can see, the Demon Lord has been defeated on normal difficulty. So everybody's kind of moving too hard at this point. 80 the first time, 82K the second time. So I've managed to make that contribution for my particular clan. And I'll show you guys what I'm referring to as well. So if you come into your clan, which hopefully everyone has joined a clan, found a clan. If not, 22WK, we still have 11 slots available, and we would love to have you. But if I come over to Clan Quest, you're going to notice that getting 2 items from the bazaar, for example, this task has been taken, and we'll go over to the bazaar, just kind of give you guys an idea. You see people kind of flash through it really quickly, but there are so many opportunities for every section of the game to actually become its own video, its own requirements. And that's kind of nice to see as well. The other thing is you push yourself to go through, survive 19 turns against the Demon Lord on normal difficulty or higher. This is one of those quests that if I had not already accepted 3, I could go in and then take those 100 coins, come over to the clan shop, and then use those here as well. And I have 600 so far. What I would also do is collect these champion fragments. There are going to be a couple of champions that are available, and this area will rotate for you as well. So sometimes you have energy that's available. You may have a rare book that's available. There are a lot of ways for you to kind of go in and get different items for yourself. So once you finish Clan Boss, which for a lot of us will not take very long, especially if you are early game, these keys here are going to belong for or be present for Hydra. But you can't unlock it until you're level 45. And I'll tell you, either you love Hydra or you probably hate Hydra. I don't find very many people that are in between. But it is another push, I say mid-game or so, that will create the need for moving champions around. Don't skip Arena. Arena is going to be another one, guys. Until we make it to level 35 for tag team, there are a lot of events, tournaments that are tied to tag team. They are pretty awesome. It's a really good way to acquire, for example, CVC points, event points. One battle, which is the equivalent of doing 3 battles every time, can sometimes garner you anywhere from 90 to 200 points each battle. Some of those battles are only lasting a couple of seconds. In the beginning, especially, I try to do all 10 of my battles every time I log in. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I log in daily because that's not going to be the case. Some people do. They're pretty diligent. Anything that I download on mobile, for example, I definitely will use it a lot more. So my pay to play account is 95 to 98% played on mobile, and I do all my free to play on the computer itself. What you're working for is going to be twofold here. You will not gain access to the bazaar, which I just thought about this one, until you're able to unlock tag team. And tag team, I believe, is still level 35. So you're going to have to really, really push yourself to be able to make it to that level so that you can actually use those resources or bars that you will acquire as you're battling through. The number one reason that people are going to be looking at Arena, don't forget, is because you're trying to gather what's needed, those little totems that are needed for your Great Hall. Maxing out your Great Hall is a push. Honestly, I just recommend going into Arena every time you play, using all the coins that you have available to you. Guys, even if you make micro purchases, you're going to notice that they offer coins quite a bit. For logging on, for example, you're going to acquire them. For doing the daily challenges, you'll get another refill. So just using those refills, there are going to be moments where they actually expire. So do not have a heart attack if you figure out, oh my gosh, this refill of 10 coins expired. It happens. It's going to happen quite a bit. But you're noticing some of our battles are 2 or 3 seconds. And it's just based on what tier you're in, where you are, and going through selecting teams. I try to pick a team that I can look at power-wise. We should be pretty successful. Of course, having Deacon Armstrong does not hurt at all. It's pretty nice, especially for progression. So this won't take but a second. I will tell you this. There is a refresh button. The refresh button, just like you find in the marketplace, do not spend your gems there. I have watched quite a few players notice it refreshed on its own there, even though it wasn't completely done. Arena is going to refresh for you every 15 minutes. Guys, go in, do it first, go to Clan Boss, come back, look at your faction wars and see if you're able to even tackle the first, second, or third level, and then come out of it. Don't find yourself dropping 5 gems at a time. I will say, and I'm not sure exactly where in the game I fell into it. With my very first account, I acquired a lot of gems, a lot of gems. I've noticed with this account, though, I have not picked up on nearly as many gems as this time around as I did a couple of months ago. And my first account, I think, was started maybe July, somewhere in July, thinking like mid-July. So, it's one of those. I know there are a lot of things that have been kind of changed and modified, but even as we're sitting here with each other and you see me going through the battles for Arena, it's not going to take you very long. If you come to the point where you are running into teams that are extremely powerful, don't hesitate to go in, use a couple of coins, lose a few battles. Then once it refreshes, it should drop you down in level, and then you'll have more teams that you're able to farm. This is Mordecai that some of you guys picked up instead of Deacon Armstrong using the promo code. Really, really good champion, really good champion. Has an HP burn on that first attack, which is always nice. Once they actually go in and fully master him and upgrade him, this guy can be a tough cookie. Like, he is a true account carrier. So, I've had Mordecai before. He will definitely put out way more damage than that. So here, I'm not going to be tempted to refresh. I'm trying to build up my gem number. I have successfully done about 20 battles as we've been sitting. And when you go through, guys, you're going to have your battle log. She'll talk about what you're able to track, showing your defenses, of course, and then showing attack on the opposite side. You can go in and make your defense a lot more powerful. This is going to cause you, of course, to lose a lot of points, positions. And I'll be honest, this doesn't bother me as much unless I know that I'm pushing, for example, for Platinum Arena. If I am pushing for something of that magnitude, it's a little bit different. I can come in and add more champions. So if you have more champions that you know for sure you're going to be keeping on your team, then you're welcome to fill them in. A lot of people, as a courtesy, especially for certain events, CBC, we'll go in and just do a one-man team so that everyone's able to farm, get some things done, and then come out. Tier level is also one every Monday. On Mondays, just make sure you are all done. You've reached kind of the cutoff for a tier, and then you will receive a reward. And it keeps a tally in the bottom left-hand corner to show you when the ranking period would end. There are quite a few rankings. My highest level so far, I kind of dance right in between, silver, or what is it, silver? Yeah, I think that's silver. I call it silver. Platinum Arena is a whole different beast. Some people absolutely love this area. Even making it to gold, I think is pretty impressive. I made it to gold one once, stayed there a hot second and came back down. But somewhere in between silver 3 and gold 1 is kind of where I bounce back and forth, even silver 2, just depending on what's going on. The number of bars that will drop is going to be one thing. And then you're also looking at these other percentages that are increasing as well. They will give you top players, especially with that platinum tier, which is always interesting. Guys, these people are not playing. Do you hear me? Like, they are in it to win it. There are champions here that I've never seen. There are teams, especially when you start seeing the +1s, +3s, +4s, and we can kind of go through. I've been doing a little work and figuring out exactly where the plus signs are coming from and exactly what they mean as well. So just 2 areas of the game. I definitely want to just stop, pause, and make sure as brand new players, you're not skipping these. Even for mid-game players, sometimes we get caught up on just running faction wars and running dungeons for farming. And that's all you're doing in between tournaments, events, or, those faction summonings. Like when you're doing summonings and man, the fusion summonings get really, really intense. Guys, for the average player, and I'll just be honest and put it out here. I've done an entire video a couple of weeks ago, I think, on this topic as well, especially early game. When fusion events come around, unless you miraculously have a lot, and I mean a lot of resources, don't worry about it. Keep your gameplay going, log in to your clan boss, to your arena. I kind of start here, work my way backwards. I utilize my multi-battles and campaign for early game. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where your multi-battles are mostly going to be used in dungeons. So while you're running Minotaur's Labyrinth, you're building up food, ice golems, spiders, then, wherever you like to spend the majority of your time. So you kind of graduate from campaign back over. And that's a progression that will definitely have you, kind of sit up and pay attention to the progress you've made at that point. Want you guys to keep gaming. If there's a section of the game for my newbies that you would like for me to go in and break down, definitely don't mind doing that one. Just speaking from the perspective of someone who's been in the game only for a couple of months. And so we've been having a lot of fun, really finding some champions. You're going to figure out pretty quickly. I love to do champion reviews. I actually have 2 of those being prepared now. I managed to pull some champions, and I've been thinking about also maybe doing an in-depth dive. I kind of gravitate, I guess, more so to the champions we pull all the time that we may not be thinking about very clearly. And so there are a few that I certainly want to do an in-depth review and just kind of get your feel for it, just to keep the community talk and chatter kind of going. As always, guys, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.